Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about Blasphemous Edict. For 3 colorless and 2 black, it's a sorcery with you may pay black rather than play this spell's mana cost if there are 13 or more creatures on the battlefield. Each player sacrifices 13 creatures of their choice. So the name and abilities of this card are meant to evoke Blasphemous Act. They both deal with the number 13 and they both have a discount if there's a certain number of creatures in play. This is a lot less flexible on the face of it than Blasphemous Act because you can only ever play this for 5 mana or 1 mana. There's no in between. So occasionally with Blasphemous Act you can still get away with playing it for 2 or 3 mana, which is obviously cheaper than this. But that being said, it isn't that difficult to meet the condition for this card for it to cost 1 mana. In most games of Commander, there's going to be at least 13 creatures in play at some point or another, and at that point this comes down very nicely and generally wipes the board. And I say generally because that is another difference that this has with Blasphemous Act. Blasphemous Act can't get really big creatures, but it can actually deal with very, very wide boards. This cannot deal as well with very wide boards, but it's much easier to deal with big creatures if the boards are reasonably wide but not massive. Sacrificing 13 creatures should generally clear most boards, but if you're playing against certain token decks or certain strategies that are going to make a lot of small creatures, then sometimes this will not be enough and they get to keep their best creatures while sacrificing the smaller ones. It's still a big hit to get rid of 13 things, but there are situations where this is going to be a little bit more awkward than Blasphemous Act. On the other hand, it does have some advantages when compared to Blasphemous Act. Sacrifice tends to be better than damage, it's harder to get around. There's a lot of cards that give indestructible to your creatures these days, which mean the Blasphemous Act kind of doesn't do that well against those cards. Those cards do literally nothing against Blasphemous Edict because sacrifice is one of the best ways to remove creatures. It doesn't target and they can't be regenerated or gain indestructible or anything like that. So what I do find particularly interesting about this card is that it might be the beginning of a cycle. We might be seeing cards in different colors with different effects that have something like a board wipe that gets discounted based on the creatures on the battlefield. That would be really cool to see in blue, green, and white as well, although I think green it might be difficult to justify thematically. The other two should definitely be doable. Of course, they probably wouldn't be able to use the word blasphemous for green, blue, and white, but still you never know. WotC might get around that and somehow make a creative, flavorful card. So all in all, I think this is a very strong addition to Commander. It's definitely going to be one of the best black board wipes out there. I would rank it in the top 5. Toxic Deluge and Damnation are probably still the best, but this is definitely up there and is going to be very, very solid. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think though? Do you disagree with me or do you think I got it right? Let me know in the comment section below. I always make sure to read all of your comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care.